All right. So we are on the fourth day of our predictive approach revision. Okay. So today we'll be talking about risk performance domain, basically trying to understand what this performance domain is, why is it so important, what are the processes that PMI talks about in the PMBOK 8th edition, and what should be the mindset when you are answering the questions in PMP exam. Exactly like we have done in the last three parts where we have discussed the other six domains. This is the seventh performance domain as per the PMBOK 8th edition. Okay. The way we are looking at it is just giving us another perspective, another angle to look at the same thing that we do in the training, right? That's why we are revising it from a different angle. It will help in just combining everything together. That is why we are carrying out this revision session, which is the last day for predictive approach. Next week, we'll be talking about agile approach. Okay. Similar to all the other sessions, we'll have an introduction first, then we'll talk about the general activities so that you can create a mental picture of what happens in risk management. Then we'll talk about the processes that PMI talks about, and we'll discuss the exam mindset. Let us start with the first one first, introduction. Okay. As we all know, risk is basically something uncertain, an event that may happen or may not happen in the project. If it happens, it will create an impact. It could be a positive impact, it could be a negative impact. Positive impact is called opportunity, negative impact is called threat. So these are uncertain events which are either a threat or a opportunity or an opportunity for my project. Right? Now, when we talk about the performance domain itself, this focuses on identifying what the risks are, then analyzing those risks qualitatively, quantitatively, trying to understand which risk is more important and which risk is not. Basically, trying to understand how much impact a particular risk can create and what are the chances that it might happen. Combining both, we will be able to prioritize the risk. When we are able to prioritize the risk, we will be able to plan a response for all those risks. So the minute we know that, okay, this is a particular risk that might happen, we'll plan a response. Okay, if it happens, what will we do? If it rains, we'll carry an umbrella. Very simple. If it catches fire, then we'll figure out some way to douse that fire. Right? If there's a leakage, we'll put out the leakage. If there's a delay in the material supplied, then we'll rearrange the task. Right? So every risk will have certain responses that we'll plan either before it happens or after it happens. We will have our own plan saying that if this is the risk that we have identified, these are the things that we will do. If there's a risk that material might get damaged during transit, we'll improve our packaging so that we can reduce the impact of that damage. We will ask the driver to drive cautiously so that we can reduce the probability of that risk happening. Right? So ultimately, what we do is either we try to avoid the risk completely, or we try to transfer it to somebody else by purchasing insurance and looking for partners, or we try to reduce the impact or the probability of risk happening by doing something extra, more testing, more packaging, more improvement. That's what we do in terms of responses, right? So whenever you think about risk management, it's all about first identifying what could be the risk in the project, then analyzing to prioritize which risk is the most important one. And then from the top, we'll start planning a response one by one. Once we have planned the response, obviously we will implement those and we'll also check whether our implementation was successful or not, monitoring the uncertainties that may affect the project's objective. That's exactly what risk management is all about. Let us try to discuss those activities one by one. Before that, quickly, the importance, why risk management is important. First, it increases the likelihood of meeting the schedule, cost, and scope objectives. See, if you're able to anticipate what problems might happen and prepare yourself to reduce the impact or to eliminate that problem completely, what are you doing? You are ensuring that your team does not face problems. Or if it faces the problems, it faces less problems. Chances will increase that we will be able to meet our objectives. Second, it also reduces the impact of threats and enhances the opportunities. As we discussed, risks are both positive and negative. Positive risks are opportunities. So when you have identified that, yes, there's an opportunity, if I use artificial intelligence in my project, I'll be able to increase my productivity. You will do that. So what have you done? You have enhances your opportunities. If you see that there could be a material damage, you have improved your packaging. You have asked the driver to drive properly. You have looked for an insurance. What have you done? You have reduced the impact of threats. So if you manage risks well, you will be able to reduce the impacts of the problems that might happen in the project. It also supports informed decision making. See, many a times what happens is that when we are, let's say, for example, when you are working with a supplier, we know that the supplier would delay the material. So if our calculation says 7 days, while committing, we say 14 days. There's no guarantee that the supplier would deliver in 14 days also. Instead of this, what we can do is we can check, okay, how many times we have worked with these suppliers. Somebody would say last 10 projects we have worked with them. So in the last 10 projects, whenever we worked with them, how many times they delivered the material? Let's say 30 times. Out of those 30 times, 25 times they were late. Right? So 25 out of 30 is the probability of this supplier delaying the material, which is around 80%, 83%. Similarly, in these 10 projects, of these 30 times, when they delayed, what was the delay like on an average? Let us say on an average it was 20 days. Right? So there's an 83% chance that the supplier will delay the material by 20 days. 83 into 20 is 16.6 days. So now if your calculation says 7 days, you will not commit 14, but you will commit 23 days or 24 days. Because you know this is how the supplier delays the material. That's what is backed by the data of last 10 project. What has it done? It has supported you in informed decision making. So when you decided the schedule, you said, okay, let's take the double, and you feel happy about it. And then in the project, you see that, okay, they have delayed even further. Why? Because you should not have taken 14 days, you should have taken 23 days, because this supplier always delays the material, or on average, delays the material by 20 days for every delivery. And there's a 83% chance that they will delay in this project also. So what do? You multiply 83 by 20 days, you get 16.6, you take 7 days, 17 days, 7 plus 17, you take 23 or 24 days. Then you, your team, your management, everybody will feel comfortable that yes, we have worked on our previous data and then we have decided our schedule. Yes, it is very much possible that you will not have time of 24 days to complete the project. That this activity alone will take 24 days, project will get delayed a lot. Then you will decide what else to be done. Should you look for another supplier? Still, it is helping you in making informed decision. Right? So if you do, or if you manage risks well, if you follow all those processes of risk management, you will be taking better decisions in the project. And it also protects the approved baselines, whatever the baselines are approved. So if it is 23 days and you know that this 23 days delivery timeline of the supplier would result in project getting delayed even further, then you will not work with that supplier. You will stick to the baselines. Right? So risk managed well helps us in meeting our objectives, reducing the impact of threats, enhancing the opportunities, taking better decisions in the project, and protecting our approvals that we have received. Approved targets, approved baselines. That's why risk management is very, very important. You will see a lot of questions on risk management intertwined, mixed with people domain, mixed with business domain, mixed with some other processes, scope, schedule, quality, but they will talk a lot about risks because every project will have risk. And as a project manager, you must know how to manage risks in the best way possible. How do we do that? Let us discuss. First, plan for it. How are you going to manage the risk in this project? What technique you will use, what template you will use, who will be the risk owner, how will they support you, what type of report you will create, when will you submit those reports to the customers, how it will be reviewed, everything that you need to carry out should be planned first. Then start identifying risks as early as possible and document them in something called a risk register. As soon as you identify a risk, start analyzing qualitatively and quantitatively for the probability and impact. Probability means what are the chances that risk will happen. Impact means how much impact it will create. Identifying risk happens very early in the project. As soon as you start planning, you will start identifying the risks. And it will continue to happen till the very end of the project as well. As you start executing, as you identify more team members, hire more team members, as you identify more stakeholders, as you figure out some changes in the project, every time something happens, you have to think about what is the risk associated with that change, that new team member, that new stakeholders, what are the risks associated. So you will start identifying risk as early as possible, and you will do it throughout the project. Right? And whenever you identify risk, the next process is to start performing qualitative and quantitative risk analysis. Qualitative means team members' opinion. Right? Based on my expertise, what do I think about this risk? Is it very high? Is it very low in severity? High probability, high impact? What it is? What is it? Right? That is called qualitative risk analysis. Quantitative means looking at the previous project and calculating the numbers, right? Just like I did in the last slide when I talking about the example. Look at the 10 projects. How many times what it got? How many times the supplier delayed the material? 83% of the time. What was the average time? 20 days. So we will take 17 days. So this way you will come to know about the probability and impact. Quantitative means numbers and count. Qualitative means opinion. Okay, both are important. If you don't have the data available, if the data is not in good quality, carry out only qualitative. If you have the data, carry out the quantitative analysis also. This is where you calculate manually. You put it on a simulator called simulation, product simulation. You run some data, software will give you the probability and impact, but you carry out these quantitative risk analysis if the data is available. Right? This helps us in understanding the priority of the risk, and you can develop the risk response strategies. Yeah. Yes, Neha, please, your question.
Amit, the calculations that you just said, do we need to do that, or there is any the team will do that, or there is any help?
Team does it. Or everything that we're talking about, team does it. Who
Okay,
identifies the risk?
thanks.
The team does it. Who performs the analysis? The team does it. Who develops the risk response strategies? The team does it. Okay. The
Okay,
project manager's role is to help the team in carrying out that activity. You are the leaders. Okay. You have the
mm,
soldiers with you, with a gun and everything. They are going to fight. You have to ensure that they fight in the right way possible. So you are the colonels and the generals and the majors of the army. You are the project manager. Okay. You help the team in
okay,
carrying out these activities.
okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, so there's something on the chat box also. How come planning is before identifying the risk? If you don't plan, you will not be able to identify the risk properly. How will you identify the risk if you don't have the plan? How will the team know what should they do to identify the risk? So in your planning, you will mention that we'll carry out meetings. We'll look at previous project report. We will talk to this particular subject matter expert who will help us in identifying the risk. Okay, so planning is supposed to be done always as the first thing. Only uh, I would say only one time where you don't plan and you start doing it is identifying stakeholders. The only reason you identify stakeholders before planning is because that is the very first thing that you do in project, right? In the project, the stakeholder is already there. They tell you that you are going to be the project manager, right? So you have already identified, okay, I have to work with this person. So you have already identified some key stakeholders, right? That is the only place where you don't plan and you carry out the activity. Every other thing is supposed to be planned, right? So why should the planning happen before identifying the risk? To help your team members understand how to identify risks in this project. To what length we should identify. Everything will be there in the planning. Is it clear, Bernard? Am I able to answer? Is what I want to say. Yes, Sonam, your question, please.
Amit, quantitative risk analysis, the sensitivity analysis, tornado diagram, these are all approaches that are used to carry out quantitative risk analysis, right?
Yes.
Okay, and these are all done by the team itself.
Yeah. So team will carry out that analysis and the project manager would help the team in carrying that out.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. Right. So once we carry out the analysis, we understand the priority of the risk, and according to the priority, we develop the risk response. Right? Risk response basically means how are we going to attack this risk? How are we going to take care of this risk? Right? So for threats, we generally say we will avoid it. If it is a high priority threat, for example, we are sending the material from a very hilly area in a monsoon season, right? There are high chances of landslide. So we will avoid that plan. We will not carry out that activity. We will send the material by air if we have the budget, or we will wait for some time and then send it. Right? So you are avoiding the activity completely. That is called avoid. Second is mitigate. Mitigate basically means doing something extra so that we can reduce the probability and impact. So material might get damaged. So what are we doing? We are improving the packaging. We are stacking it properly. We are checking something. We are sending one person who can just take care of the material and everything. We are asking the driver to drive cautiously. We are hiring the best drivers possible. We are using the best vehicles possible. So what are we doing? We are doing something extra so that we can reduce the probability or impact of the risk. Then something is called transfer. Transfer basically means finding out a third party. Customer is the first party, you are the second party. The project is happening between you two. Anybody else is a third party. Finding a third party, a supplier or an insurance company who could take that risk for you. Right? So you are sending I'm sending the material from in my vehicle. I want to insure it. So I'll go to an insurance company, I'll pay them the premium, and they will insure my material. So what will happen if the damage happens? They will pay for it. Why will they do it? Because that's their business model. They work with 100 other clients. Only 10 times the material will get damaged. From 90, they will just take the premium. And whatever premium they keep the margin and they pay it to you when your damage happens. Right? So you have transferred the risk to somebody else. If it's a low priority risk, you just accept it. Accepting means you have entered into the risk register, you have not ignored it. But you said that, okay, when it happens, then we will deal with it. These are very low priority risk. As we discussed, like there's a factory floor, somebody is walking, they might twist their ankle. Right? Now, if they might twist their ankle, there would be a 15-minute delay because they would be applying some ointment and everything, and you will have to keep some ointment. Right? Now, for that problem, you are not going to spend hours in a meeting room with 20 general managers trying to figure out what could be the solution. Because the problem is 15 minutes, your solution would be 15 days. Right? So your solution will be more costly than the problem. So all those problems, which are very small problems, right? You say that, okay, we'll keep a contingency reserve for all these problems, 20, 30, 40, whatever we have identified. Problems means risk. Anticipated problems means risks. So all these risks that we have identified, these are low priority risks. We don't have to find solution. If it happens, we will deal with it. That is called accept. So we have accepted the risk, but we will not plan any response. We will take action only when it happens. Right? So these are the 4 responses that you can take for threats. You can also escalate if something goes beyond your authority, which is the 5th response. Right? Similar is your opportunities. Because threats are negative, you try to avoid it. Because opportunities are positive, you try to exploit it. Here you change the plan. Here also you change the plan and you exploit it. So you don't have a plan to use artificial intelligence. That was never a part of your tools and techniques. But because now you see that as an opportunity to improve the productivity of the team, you will exploit that opportunity by changing the plan. Saying that, okay, now we will use artificial intelligence. We'll hire somebody who knows artificial intelligence. We will have a training from somebody who can train us on artificial intelligence. What have you done? You have exploited that opportunities. Mitigate is doing something extra to reduce the probability and impact. Enhance is doing something extra to increase the probability. Right? So you want to use AI, you cannot change the plan completely, but you said, okay, do we have data to use AI? Let us capture data as well. So you said we will capture more data, we will store it somewhere so that we can enhance our chances of utilizing AI and utilizing the benefits of AI. By doing something extra, you are enhancing the opportunities. Right? Here it was transfer. If it's a negative risk, you try to find a partner who can take the complete risk for you and you pay them the premium of that. Here you share. You find an opportunity of utilizing some accessories that the customer might want. You cannot provide that. You don't have that capability. You are creating a joint venture with somebody else. You are creating a partnership with somebody else so that along with them, you can pitch into the customer and grab that opportunity. Similar with AI, you don't have the capability of AI, so you are partnering with somebody else who has. And as a partner, you pitch to the customer. Accept is again same. Low priority opportunities, which are low in chance, low in impact, you just accept it. You say, if it happens, then we will deal with it. You can also escalate the opportunities which are beyond your authority. New sales opportunities, something else which is not a part of your responsibility. You just inform them that, hey, I have seen this opportunity, please take care of it. Right? So these are the responses you plan for the risks. One question for sure will be there in the exam. Yes, Neha, please. Your question.
When you say accept the risk, then that time you don't need to put the solution for that in the plan, right? Because you said that when it will happen, we can deal with that.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Because it is low in priority. Okay. There's hardly any chance that it will happen, maybe a 5%, 10% chance. And if it happens, the impact is also less. So because the
Yeah.
impact is less, there's hardly anything. So we said, okay, when it happens, we'll deal with it. For example, in PMP, out of 180 questions, there will be one question on calculation. Right? So it can be your strategy to say that, okay, only one question. I'm not going to study for calculation. Anyways, math is not a good subject for me. I don't like maths. I will not do any calculation. Right? If it happens, then I'll see. If I remember the formula, I'll answer it. If I don't remember the formula, I'll take a guess and I'll move ahead. Right? Taking a guess also is a 25% chance that I'll be correct. And if I can apply some formula, I can get it correct. But if I'm studying for this calculation, I may need to spend 8 to 10 hours studying for it and another 6 to 8 hours practicing some questions for it. Do I need to do that for one question? Right? It's now up to you. Right? So what have you done? You have said, okay, I have accepted this as a risk. If it happens, I'll deal with it. Right? It can be a very, very good strategy as well for the exam as well.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Next is that once we have the response plan, which means we will need to implement it. And whenever we are implementing it, we need to monitor the risks. Right? So keep monitoring the risks, set up some risk triggers. Triggers are basically any warning, any sign, any signal that will tell you that the risk is about to happen or it has already started. Okay, like if you're using mobile phone, if you're using laptops to watch this, to connect with me, right? If your battery is low, you will see a warning, 5% remaining, 10% remaining. Right? That's a trigger that there is a risk that your device might shut down. Right? And you get a trigger set with it. 20% remaining, 10% remaining, 5% remaining. If you ignore it, it will shut down and then you'll have to run for a charger. But if you don't ignore it, you apply the charger when it is 5% left. That's what triggers do. Right? Then there is something called residual risk. Now, residual risk is basically you have applied your responses that you had planned, yet there is some risk. For example, you have improved the packaging of the damage, of the material for the damage. But when the damage happens, little bit of damage would still remain. That is your residual risk. What will you do for that? You will have an insurance. Right? So residual risk is the risk remaining even after implementing a response. Right? As a residue, it is left. That is why it is called residual risk. Right? Now, in risk management, there are multiple other terms also. There's a video that I have done where I have discussed around 50 risk management terms. Okay, you don't have to remember all these 50 terms, but it'll be a good practice to just have a look at it. Okay, or run the video at 1.25, 1.5 times speed and pause for those terms which you don't know. Okay, you could do that. It's on YouTube. I'll send the link separately. Also, it helps. Okay, in risk management specifically, you don't have to memorize all the 500, 600 terms that are there for project management because ultimately it is an application of knowledge rather than test of memory. Okay, so but do go through these terms at least once. You should be able to logically, in your own words, understand what that terms means. Okay, so I'll send that link. Last part, whenever you carry out any activity, update your risk response. If you realize that, okay, whatever we had planned, our response strategy is no longer valid, we have to change it. Change it. There's this, you should not ever be frustrated with change. In project management, there will always be changes. right? You should embrace that change. You should welcome those changes. Okay, this change is fine. That does not mean you should accept every change. Okay, the mindset is that okay, I'll welcome the change, but I'll always check whether this change is really needed or not. In traditional approach, I will run it through integrated change control, all those approval and everything. In agile, we'll discuss as a team, and the product owner will take a decision for new changes, right? But the mindset should be that yes, there will be change in the project. I should not get frustrated with changes, right? So if you need to update your risk responses, do it. If you need to update your plan, do it. If you need to update your contingency reserves, do it. Right? That's how you manage risk in the project. Yes, Sonam, your question, please.
Amit, uh, the fourth point, developing risk response strategies. So once we do that, do we require any approval from
No,
management or
no,
no?
not
We
really.
just
Why would we
review?
go? Yeah, see, this is the part of execution, right?
Mm,
Uh, we have decided our strategies. We will be spending some money. We'll be spending some time. As long as it is within the budget, we don't need an approval for risk response strategies separately. Okay.
mm,
Whatever activities that you have decided will be a
yeah.
part of your schedule. Whatever money that you will need will be a part of your budget. So you're anyways taking approval there. You don't need an approval on risk response strategies separately.
Okay. But do we have to share with the management, or it's just after planning it, it's just done? There's nothing that we have to review it
What
with the.
what do you think? Should you share or should you not?
I mean, in my current role, when we do, PI planning, we identify the risks and all, and we plan for risk response strategies. So we do review it like with the management that this is what the risk response.
Yeah, you do it currently, but what do you think? Should we do it or not?
I'm not sure.
No, as per your opinion, what do you think? Is it helpful? If when you do it, is it helpful?
Yeah, I think
Yeah. So should we
yes.
do it? See, if it is helpful in the project, you should do it. See, the
Okay.
point is that if I'm planning something and I
Mm-hmm.
have a management there, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong in sharing. Hey, this is what I have planned. Can you have a look at it? There's nothing wrong in that. If they have time, they'll have a look at it. If they can provide some input, nothing like it. So in project management, the reason I asked you this question back is not to just test whether you know it or not. The
Yeah.
point is the mindset. Okay.
Mm.
The mindset should be that I should be willing to share anything and everything in the project.
Mm.
Okay. Because what happens with sharing? They come to know something, they have their own experience, they might suggest me something better. I might have missed something. My team might have missed something. They might figure that out. Okay.
Mm.
So sharing should not never be restricted. Okay. Transparency is a big principle of project management.
Mm.
Whatever I have, WBS, I have displayed it on the wall. Right?
Mm.
Schedule, I have displayed it on the wall. Risk management, I have the register. I share it as a project report every month. Right? So what happens with transparency is that there are people who are probably more knowledgeable than us in something else. They look at it from the business angle, they look at it from the strategy angle. So they might figure out something that we missed. Right? It will be a blessing to figure that out. So the reason the reason I cross question and I
Mm.
counter asked you that is
Mhm.
because it's a mindset.
Mm.
Sharing should never be restricted. Okay,
Mm.
you want this report? Okay, take it. You want that report? Okay, take it. Doesn't
But
matter.
it is, but it is not a like a necessary step. If it is needed, then we do it. But it is not something that we
Yeah,
have
it's
to
not
do.
something that you must do or you
Mm.
must study as a part of processes. That
Mm.
if you
Okay.
don't do it, you will not be able to manage the risk. If you
Okay.
do it, it'll be helpful. If you don't do it, doesn't nothing happens.
Okay. One more question, Amit. So in threats, you have mentioned about avoid, mitigate, transfer, and accept. So these are the only four
There's one escalate as well.
escalate. And own as well is there because I have seen it in my project. So that's the reason I'm just asking is.
Own is not a response. Okay, see,
Hmm.
what are these? These are responses. Change the plan.
Hmm.
Do extra testing, find an
Hmm.
insurance company, figure out when it happens, escalate it to somebody else. Own is basically an ownership that you're showing to the rest that yes, I own it, I'll do
Hmm.
it. Or that person is a risk owner, or somebody else is a risk owner. You are just assigning the responsibilities to them. It's not a strategy. It's not a plan that I will do something. You are only assigning responsibility. So ownership is assigning responsibility to somebody, saying that you own this risk. Now your responsibility is to carry out these actions that we have decided. Okay, so that's not a type of response. It's just assigning responsibility. Okay, perfect. Anything else, anyone in risk management? So this helps you in creating the mental picture of what must be done in order to manage the risk properly. Now let us talk about the processes that PMI talks about, which is exactly the same thing. First, start with the plan. Sit with your team and discuss how you guys are going to manage the risk in this project. I'm highlighting, always emphasizing on this project, right? So your plan from previous project cannot be just copied and pasted here. People are different, customers are different, products are different, timelines are different, resources that you will use different, challenges that you will have will be different. You can use previous project as a reference. It'll give you 60-70% understanding of what might happen in this project. Right? But you'll have to always convert that into this project, right? So you'll sit with the team and plan how we should manage risk in this project. Then start identifying the risk and keep identifying the risk throughout the project. Any change happens, any new information comes to you, anything that you notice, keep identifying the risk and keep updating the risk register. Right? Then perform the risk analysis for all the risks that you identify. As soon as you identify the risk, start performing the risk analysis. This is where you try to understand probability, which means what are the chances that the risk will happen, and impact. How much impact will this risk create? Right? Once you understand the probability and impact, when you multiply this number, what you get is called expected monetary value. Right? So what you have done is you have converted the risk into some monetary value just to compare which risk is more important for you. That risk which will have the highest expected monetary value will be the highest priority risk. Start with that and plan the response for all the risks, right? Which is called planning the risk response. Once you have planned the responses, the next step is to implement all those responses. When you are implementing the response, keep observing, keep checking whether your implementation is successful or not, which is called monitoring risks that happens throughout the project. Right? So these are the step-by-step processes that you follow in order to manage risks in the best way possible. What will be there in the plan? How we will identify the risk? Which techniques we will use for qualitative analysis? Which techniques we will use for quantitative analysis? Right? How would the risk responses be? How will it be reported to management? Do we need to share with the management? Right? Then while you are implementing the response, who will implement it? Right? Who is going to be the risk owner? Who will be responsible for ensuring that these responses are implemented? Then monitoring the risk. How will you do that? What type of risk report will you create? How often will you share it with the customer? Everything will be there in the plan for you. Right? So basically, when you look at risk management plan, stakeholder engagement plan, scope, schedule, cost, quality management plan, these are all subsidiary plans for your project management plan, which basically tells you, or you plan with, sit with your team and decide how you are going to manage that particular area. So how you are going to manage risk, how you are going to manage scope, how you are going to manage schedule will all be there in the risk management plan, schedule management plan, cost management plan, subsidiaries. When you combine it all together, it becomes project management plan. Right? Individually, these plans will be created by team. Your job is to combine it into something called project management plan, not the exam. This is the short form for project management plan. Combining all the different plans into project management plan. Right? So these are the processes that PMI talks about in PMBOK 8. Now comes the part of exam mindset. What should you keep in mind whenever you are answering the questions? Right? Most important is this, and it will definitely be tested. Risks and issues are different. Risks are uncertain future events. You are sitting with your team. You are saying that we have to carry out this activity in future. What type of problems might happen? Might happen means uncertain. In future, that is your risk. Issue, you are carrying out an activity and you are facing the issue right now. The problem is currently happening. Right? So issue is present. Or you can say past as well. It has already happened and you're trying to solve it. Risk is future event. Right? Always keep this in mind. Whenever it is doubtful, it may happen, it might happen, it may create an impact, might create an impact, it's a risk. Whenever it says that it is creating an impact, it will delay the project. It has already happened. Has delayed the work. Team member is missing. Somebody has made a mistake. It's an issue. There's a conflict happening. It's an issue. Right? Problems have to be solved through problem-solving approach that we have discussed. Right? In problem solving, first you try to understand the problem. Then you carry out the root cause analysis. Root cause analysis means why the problem happened. You try to, while you are understanding, you are also trying to understand the impact that this problem will create. How will it impact the schedule? How will it impact the cost? After you have understood why the problem has happened, then you try to figure out what could be the solutions. Right? Multiple solutions possible. In that, figure out what is the best solution. Then implement that solution. After implementing, check whether the solution was successful or not, and then update your lessons learned. Whatever lesson you learn throughout the project, keep mentioning it in the lessons learned document. Right? This is the way you solve any and every problem. In the exam, in the situation, they will mention either of these things. That you have figured out a problem, you have find out the root cause, what will you do next? If they've already discussed why the problem happened, figure out the solution. If they've already discussed the solution, implement the solution. But if they are talking only about understanding the problem, you don't jump to solution. Next thing is to find out the root cause first. Right? Second is risk management. We've already seen. Identify the risk, analyze for the risk, prepare a response plan, implement, and check your response. That will be tested in the exam. But do not get confused between risks and issues. Very separate thing. Right? In predictive projects, when we talk about risk, these are identified early and continuously throughout the project. Responses are always planned before execution. Right? You never carry out any execution activity without the plan. In the last 4 days, I think I have used this sentence at least 20-30 times. Never ever execute anything without the plan. Even if it is a change, it's a problem that you are facing, customer is asking for something new, sponsor is telling you that carry out this activity, never do that without changing the plan. Sponsor is asking you do this extra thing, go back, change the plan. Just a second. Go back, change the plan, and then do it. Customer is asking for something extra, go back, change the plan, and then do it. Team members have made the mistake, go back, change the plan, and then do it. Okay. Never ever execute anything without changing the plan. Why? Because when you carry out one activity, it could have an impact on multiple other activities also. Right? So it is very, very important that you run it through an integrated change control. Think about all the 6 constraints, think about all the 7 performance domains, and then decide. Okay. Contingency reserves addresses known low priority risks. Right? So when the risk priority is low, which means it's a low probability thing, chances are very less that it will happen. Low impact risk, even if it happens, it will create very less impact. In such cases, keep contingency reserve. So you have identified, let's say 20-30 low priority risks. For all those 20-30 risks put together, you keep, let's say, $10,000 extra in your project. Right? It will always be used only for these 20-30 risks. If these 20-30 risks do not happen, entire amount will be returned to the sponsor. If it happens, it will be used from that. Right? Another thing, very important thing, in project management, never ever use money which is supposed to be used for one thing and you are using it for other thing. Never ever do that. Right? Physically, you can do it. You can say that I have money in my pocket and I'm just giving it to that person. But on paper, you should never do that. On paper, you have to regularize it. Right? For example, let us say that it has somebody met with an accident. You have to take them to the hospital and you have to pay that bill for the admission. Right? You have money in the pocket. You will not say, okay, this was kept for contingency reserve. I will not save my team member. Physically, you will do that. But you will go back after giving them the treatment and everything. You will go back to the office and on the paper, you will mention that this money was used for this. I'm making these changes and this is how we have used it. Right? So you will either seek extra money from the management because of that accident, or you will claim it from insurance company, get that money, regularize it. Okay, so I'm again repeating this. Physically, it is possible. But on paper, you should never use money which is assigned to something for something else. Okay, this will also be tested in the exam. Then management reserves address unknown risks. This is beyond our control. Right? We have tried to identify as many risks as possible. Still, there will be some problem, just like that accident. Probably we did not think of it. Right? And when it happens, we will seek money from the management, which is management reserve. A project manager should not use management reserve on their own. They should always seek approval before they are using it. Then, if a risk materializes, it becomes an issue. Right? So, risk was your anticipated risk. When it happened, it became an issue. Right? So, when you look at the question and you see terms like uncertainty, probability, impact, reserves, these are talking about a risk domain. You should answer based on this mindset. Okay. Last thing, I cannot overstate this ever. Do not fix the problem before analyzing it for impact. Again, repeating it, I have repeated it all 4 days because it is that important. In your exam, your sequence is first understand the situation, understand the change, understand the problem. Then analyze. What would be the impact? What is the priority? What is the probability? What is the why this change has been asked? How will it impact my cost? How will it impact my schedule? How will it impact my quality? Analyze it thoroughly. Right? So first understand, then analyze, and only after that you decide what is to be done. Even after deciding, you will have to implement it and check whether your implementation was successful or not, whether your decision was correct or not. You will have to check it, but follow this. It will help you a lot in the PMP exam. If your question is talking about understanding only, next step is analyze. If they're already talking about analysis, they have already told you that this will be the impact, this is the root cause of it, go ahead and take a decision. But 90% of such questions you will be analyzing, like meeting with the team and discuss the impact. Set up a meeting with the person who has asked for a change. Set up a meeting with the person who has made a mistake. Set up the meeting with two people who are fighting, who are having a conflict. Right? These are things that you will do first. And only then you will decide whether to change the schedule, whether to change the impact, to change the budget, ask for approval. All those things will happen later. First is understanding and analyzing by collaboration. By coming together and discussing is the best thing to do in the project. Only then decide anything or take any action. All right. Clear, everyone? Any question in this? Has it given you a little bit more clarity on risk management?
Amit, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Somewhere in the exam, like the recently which we have taken, somewhere they will be left with the contingency reserve amount, and there were an option kind of like you need to give it to a sponsor or an organization, something it was there, and other two options were there. I'm not able to recall the question, but those are the options which was
Yeah.
defining.
Leftover should be returned.
Leftover to be returned to whom? It is a sponsor or it is a
Returned back to
organizational process or something?
no.
Organizational
Organizational process asset is a document.
okay.
Okay. So there's no point of returning there, right? You don't put money on the document, right? So you return to whom? Return to the sponsor. Why? Because sponsor is the person or the group of people who arranged money for you. Who is providing you money in the project? The sponsor. Right? They are sponsoring the project. So if they have given you, let's say, for example, $2 million, and you are spending only $1.9 million, what will you do with $0.1 million which is left? You will return to whoever gave it to you. And who gave it to you? The sponsor. Right? So the answer to that question is leftover contingency reserve or leftover money, whatever is there in the project, would go back to the sponsor. The sponsor will decide what is to be done. They could throw a party to us, okay, or they could keep it with them. They could purchase a nice vehicle from it. Whatever they do, they have to take that decision.
Okay, fine.
Perfect. Yes, Mansi, your question.
Yes, even when I gave some exam before,
Yeah.
there was a question like uh, like some during the meetings, few team members were not actively participating.
Mhm.
So what could be done? Something like that. So what will be our next
See,
step?
first we will try to understand
Mm-hmm.
why are they not participating? What is happening? Is the topic not of interest with them, or they are not interested, or they're deliberately not participating? They are very busy. So first we need to understand why they are not participating. So how will we understand that? By talking to them, right? So if there is an option in the question that says talk to them, discuss with them, try to understand why they are not participating. That would
Okay.
be your first choice, right?
Mhm.
After that, once you have understood, right, then you will discuss with them itself, right? Whoever the two, three people are, sit with them and discuss what could be the solution. Let's say that they are not able to participate because they are very busy. They are not completing their work and still the meetings are happening. So the solution could be that, okay, let's not have a meeting every day. Let's have it alternate days. But who will decide that solution? You and those people together, right? So it is called participatory decision making. All the decision would be done through participation. People will participate and they'll put their points that yes, somebody will say the meeting should happen only once a week. Somebody will say meeting should not happen at all. Somebody will say no, we can have meeting every day, but reduce the duration. Somebody will say alternate days, and together we will figure out what is the best way of carrying out the meeting and meeting the objectives as well. But
Mhm.
project manager should not decide, sponsor should not decide, management should not decide. Who should decide? Those people who are facing the problem. And who will help them in deciding? Project manager.
Okay. Okay. And Amit, when we need to take a vote?
This is where you will take a vote. Okay. Let us say there are four people
Mhm.
who are not able to be active in the meeting. They have their own opinion. One person said weekly meetings.
Mhm.
One person said no meetings. One person said daily but with less duration. Other person said alternate. Right. Then you will try to take a vote. Okay. Let us talk about alternate days. Who all agree? Out of four, if three people agree, you go ahead with that. Right? Who all are in agreement with no meetings? Maybe this
Mhm.
is the only person who is saying that, right? So this is where you do a voting. So voting is generally done when there are multiple different viewpoints, or at least two different viewpoints, and you want a consensus from everybody. That's when you carry out the voting.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm?
Thank you, Amit.
No problems. Any point. Anytime.
Hi Amit, I asked one question in the chat.
Yes. What is it? Please tell me.
Okay, so how many types of reserves
Okay, I
there?
can see it there. How many types of reserve there? Contingency and management.
And
Contingency reserve. Contingency reserves are used for low priority risks. Management reserves are kept by management for those problems that the team members could not identify. These are the two type of reserves that we have that we need to know for PMP. Okay,
okay,
does that answer the
then
question?
and then the next one is in the same way. And when can project manager use the contingency reserve? Does it require management approval?
No, it is not
Oh,
require management approval because it is a identified reserve from your perspective and it's a part of budget. Okay, so for contingency reserve, you will not need approval. For management reserve, you will need approval.
okay, okay, understood.
Perfect. Let me
Amit, I
see.
just shared one screenshot where I was asking for the question, right?
Yeah.
There was an option by saying that, okay, I just shared in a WhatsApp in our group.
Mhm. Just a second. I'll take one question in the chat box, then I'll open that.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Contingency reserve is for low priority identified risk. We don't need approval to utilize the contingency reserve. Our management reserve are
Uh,
provided.
it's
You're
not a
providing the
question.
answer. Okay,
Yeah,
no
I
problem.
was just answering.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, so there's something on the WhatsApp. Let me just open it. Yes, Shilpa, you were saying something.
Yes. They are reassign the fund back to an organization, they are telling, and
Mhm.
provide the fund to a customer, they are telling.
Yeah.
So I agree
There's
with
no
the.
reason why we would provide the fund to the customer.
Huh?
There's no reason why we should give the fund back to the customer. For example, let us say that I am conducting this training, right? And I pay Zoom monthly charges for Zoom, right? Now, for some reason, Zoom has an offer and they have given it for free for 1 year.
Mhm.
I have money left. Will I return it to you? You are my customer, right?
No.
For training.
No.
No. So there is no reason why we should return the money back to the customer. Back to the organization means, yes, sponsor is a part of my organization. I can return it back to the organization. There's no problem in that. Okay. But returning it back to the customer, it doesn't happen. Yeah, I could say that, okay, my cost is reduced, so I could bring some new offer, could give you something extra. That would be my strategic decision. Right. But I am not liable to return the money just because I saved the money somewhere.
Okay. I got confused. Like sponsor is the person who will be giving us money to lead a project or to handle a project,
There are two parts to it.
run a project. Okay.
There are two parts to it. One is, let's say we are constructing building. Okay. And we are constructing this building for a customer.
Correct.
One is my cost. The bricks, the cement and everything, the labor cost and everything. Right. That will be my cost. This is the part of my budget. Right. As a project manager, I will need money to construct this building. Right.
Yeah.
So who will provide this cost and budget to me? Not the customer, but my company's management. In project, we call them as sponsor. There has to be somebody who is sponsoring this project. Where will they bring money? Either from their pocket, or they'll go for bank for loan, or they'll look for investors. Right?
Okay.
They will arrange the money and give the cost to me so that I can construct this building. Now, the other part is a sales part. Okay, my sales team said that I will construct this building for you, but I will charge you $5 million. That the customer will pay. This is my order value. Okay, or my sales price of this building. So I am constructing this building maybe in $1 million itself, which is what my sponsor will provide me to run it. And my job is to commit to a number and stick to it and ensure that I can do it in $1 million. Now, sales and customer, that is a different part altogether. Sales, depending on how good the salesperson is, okay, or how foolish the customer is, it could go to $5 million also, or how well they have negotiated. It could be $1.1 million also. Right? But that is my order value. That has nothing to do with my cost. Okay.
I got it. Thank you.
Any other question, anyone? What is round robin check-in? Okay. So these are ways in which you carry out the meetings. Okay. Now round robin is like, it's a meeting room. I have deliberately put it as a circle just to help you visualize round robin. Otherwise, it can happen in a square meeting room also. People are sitting one by one. Right? And there needs to be a decision to be taken. Now, if you ask everybody will start shouting like in a parliament. Okay. So what do you say? Okay, let's go one by one. You tell me what's your point. You tell me what's your point. You tell me what's your point. One by one, you are going with everybody. What's the benefit of this? Nobody will be missed. If you don't carry out round robin, what will happen? Anybody who shouts a lot, that will be the only person talking. Right? Other person who is an introvert might not talk in the meeting, but that does not mean that they don't have anything to say. So as a project manager, you will say, okay, in my meetings, everybody talks. So we will have a round robin check-in. Everybody will have an opinion. One by one, they will talk about it, and then we will discuss what everybody has discussed. That is called round robin.
Okay, thank you, Amit.
Am I able to clarify? Yeah? Okay. Perfect. Yes, Priya, please.
Yeah, I have one question like how we analyze risk. Are we have some specific tools for it?
Yeah, there are
Which can be
two ways. Yeah, there are two ways in which you analyze the risk. One is called qualitative, and other is called quantitative. Qualitative is very simple. Call the team members in a meeting room, discuss with them about what they think about that risk. And when you say what you think about that risk, it basically means that I'm using their expertise. Right? Their experience and expertise to understand about that risk. Typically, we use this technique and we classify what is the high priority risk, what is a medium priority risk, what is a low priority risk. Right? That is called qualitative. When you do quantitative, this is where you use tools. Right? If you remember, Sonam was talking about sensitivity analysis. There's something called Monte Carlo simulation. Right? Basically, the idea is that there would be a software. Okay, on your computer, you will enter the details. I have these many people, I have these many tasks to be done. This is the machine that I'm going to use. These are the equipments that I will be using. This is my constraint. My customer want is to be delivered in 6 months. This, right? So you added a lot of information on your software. Now software will tell you what type of risks might happen, right? Or you can enter the risks as well, depending on what type of software you're using, right? So you will enter all those risks and then you will ask the software, right? What are the probability and impact possible given this data, right? Now the software might want you to enter detail from previous projects, or it will already be available with it. And based on that, it will tell you what are the probability and what are the impact for every single risk, right? So when you are identifying the risk, this is what you do. You enter into a software runs the whole set and gives you the probability and impact. Okay. Now, how will the software run? Without data, it cannot run. So you will have to enter a lot of data from previous project, from this project. It may already be there. You just need to enter your own project details and you'll calculate and give it to you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, got it. But this will not come as a question, right? For all the tools, what tool will you use for risk and
No. They might mention one or two name here and there, like sensitivity analysis uh, or anything. They could mention some like round robin. Okay. You might see that word, but the test will not be on round robin. The test will not be on sensitivity diagram. The test will be on, do you know what to do next? The test would be on, do you know how to solve the problem? The test would be on, do you know how to lead the team? Right. That will be the test on. These terms will not be tested. That will be a very simple exam for PMP. If they're asking definition of anything, like they're asking a term and they're giving you 4 definitions, you will automatically find it, right? That'll be a very easy exam. Exam is not that easy. They'll test your application. So they will say that, okay, the team has carried out sensitivity analysis, and they have found out that one risk is of highest priority. What should the team do next? As a project manager, what will you suggest? Next would be to plan the response. So that is how they would test it.
and this should I go for the one more question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So this one thing, like I want to ask, so we start the analyzing risk at the start of the project, or how the process will flow?
As soon as you as soon as you have identified the risk, start analyzing.
Okay.
Let's see here.
And if it impact the scope or schedule or anything, then we have to go through change management control.
Yeah, after you have got the sign off on the baseline, right? Scope, schedule, and cost baseline, and then you have identified new risk, which will incorporate some kind of change, right? Then you need to again go back to change control. Before baseline, if you identified the risk, it will be a part of your plan. For that, you don't need approval. But after baseline, whatever new things that you do needs to go for approval.
Yeah. Thank you.
So in order to help you visualize how it happens, let us say that we have started a project, right? You are the project manager. There are some customer team members, there are some management team members, and 1 or 2 pre-assigned resources. Together, you are initiating the project. You are creating a project charter. Right. In that, some major risks were identified, but you have added only in the project charter. You have not created the risk register for that. Right. Once it is initiated, project charter is signed off. Then your and team's responsibility, right, is to start planning. So what will happen first? You will say, okay, let us look at the project charter. Let us try to define some scope. Let us try to discuss and understand some requirements. Every time you understand a requirement, every time you understand the scope, every time you discuss some activity, you will think about some risk. Oh, this person is asking about monthly report. What if my system goes for a shutdown? How will I send that report? That's a risk. Okay, you identified a scope element that, okay, exterior is also to be done. Oh, exterior means the painting might have a problem, right? So you will identify the risk that paint might burn off within 2 years or 3 years. So paint quality needs to be improved, right? This is how we work in project. As soon as we identify something, we start thinking what would be the activity, what would be the risk associated with it, what could be the budget of it, and then you deal with that one particular deliverable. Then you think about another deliverable, and you carry out all those activities that we discuss. Right? And together, the whole set of plan will be created. It will not happen that, okay, first I will only work on scope and create the entire WBS, right? And only then I'll look for activities. In project, if you do it like that, then you're doing everything in series. It will take a lot of time. You identify one activity, one person will keep on creating the WBS. In parallel, the other person is already identifying the activities. In parallel, the third person is already identifying the risk for all those activities. So this person will keep on building the scope. This person will keep on building the schedule. This person will keep on working on budget. Other person on quality, on risk. Everybody is working in parallel. Your job is to help everybody, bring everything together. And after maybe 15 days, 20 days, complete plan will be ready. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for the overall picture.
No problems.
Thank
Need
you.
help?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, perfect. Anything else, anyone? Any questions in mind?
Amit, I had shared those 3 questions. Can
Yeah,
I?
you have these 3 questions. I know I have not been able to do it today because I was traveling. Tomorrow is session. Can we connect on Sunday? Sunday, I only have evening sessions.
Okay.
Yeah. On Sunday, I'll give you a call whenever you are, or I'll give you a call around 11 and we'll
Okay. Sure.
Even Amit, I have listed on the questions and answers. So I just wanted to discuss with you.
Right.
I
We
texted
can
you in the
do
afternoon.
that. Yeah, Shilpa. We can do that on Monday. Is that okay?
Yeah, that will work for me.
We'll set up a time and we'll do it because I think that will take longer, right?
Yeah,
Around an hour or so. Yeah, we can do it on Monday.
sure.
Yes, Mansi.
Amit, could you please share yesterday and today's video
Video? Yeah.
session?
Recordings, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
we'll share it.
Thank you.
No problems.
Do we
What I'll
have
also-
class tomorrow, Amit?
Yes, January batch, we have
Okay.
class. I'll send the
And
link.
for us, like you give a plan, tomorrow we'll have a agile question, right? The exam.
Agile session, yeah, agile questions will be released not tomorrow. I'll let you know on the group. Okay, it's in the process. We'll release it. First is to go through this revision, go through that traditional approach, and then from Monday onwards, we'll start working on agile.
So tomorrow, is it fine? Like we also join the class, this session, or how?
I will let you know. It's a part of January batch. Okay. So
Yeah,
it's for
sure.
that group itself. So it'll be separate. Revision sessions are separate. I'll let you know. We'll have those revisions also from Tuesday onwards. Okay. I have not shown it to you. So this is how the revision would be. Tuesday we'll be discussing agile principles. Wednesday we'll discuss different agile methodologies like Scrum, Lean, Kanban, what those things are. And on Thursday we'll discuss something called charts in agile. Okay. Now this is the latest development in the exam. You may see 2 or 3 charts or a little bit more in the exam, how to identify the charts, and they'll ask some questions around it. Okay. So please do join at least on Thursday, if not on other days. But if you do it, then agile will be revised.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is how we will ensure the agile revision. And for everybody, if you have any doubts, if you have some questions to discuss, just let me know and we'll set up a call separate other than these revision sessions also, and we'll discuss.
Amit, tomorrow we are having this revision session in the
No,
evening?
not tomorrow. No.
Okay.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
So this predictive approach revision is complete like
It's complete,
today?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I will see you on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for revision and for regular sessions on the weekend as well. Thank you so much.